In April 2011, Seath Jackson of Bellevue, Florida, was lured by his ex-girlfriend Amber Wright to a mobile home, where a group of youths brutally killed him. On April 17, 2011, a group of 5 teenagers murdered a 15-year-old Seath Jackson in Bellevue, Florida. One of the culprits, 18-year-old Michael Bargo, received the death penalty and became the youngest person in Florida to be placed on death row. Seath Tyler Jackson was born in Bellevue, Florida on February 3, 1996. He attended Bellevue High School and aspired to become a UFC fighter. In 2011, Seath started dating a 15-year-old Amber Wright for about 3 months when he suspected her of cheating on him with 18-year-old Michael Bargo. They broke up on sore end in March 2011. Smoking illegal drugs in attempts to make each other jealous added to their already bitter breakup. Michael lived with his 18-year-old friend Charlie Eli and 16-year-old Kyle Hooper in Charlie's mobile home in Summerfield. Michael grew hatred towards Seath as he thought Seath abused Amber. Seath's mother once overheard Michael threatening him at their residence, stating, "I have a bullet with your name on it." Michael had a criminal history and always carried a gun. In early April of 2011, Michael and Kyle challenged Seath and his friend at Charlie's trailer home for a fight. Michael kept a .22 caliber Heritage gun at Charlie's residence. As Seath and his friend entered Charlie's home, they heard a gunshot and quickly ran away. On April 17, 2011, Michael told Kyle that he wanted to end Seath's life. Kyle was also annoyed, as Seath threatened him to burn his house during their previous fight. So, he decided to help Michael with his plan. Michael, along with Kyle, Amber, and Charlie. Another friend, Justin Soto, plotted the murder. Michael told Amber to invite Seath to Charlie's residence. Following Michael's instructions, Amber texted Seath in the evening, saying she wanted to meet him and patch up. She even promised that the meeting would be secret. Hesitant, Seath responded, "Amber, if you have me jumping, I will never give you the time of day." She replied, "I can never do that to you, and I just want you and me back." Amber's assurances finally convinced Seath, and he decided to meet her at Charlie's home. Michael, Amber, Charlie, Kyle, and Justin gathered at Charlie's home to execute their plan. As Seath entered, Kyle hit him with a wooden object, leading to a head injury. Meanwhile, Michael fired his gun at Seath, which severely injured him. Despite this, Seath managed to go outside, but Justin caught him in the front yard and tortured him. Michael fired another shot at Seath. After this, Michael, Justin, and Kyle carried Seath back into the house and placed him in the bathtub. Michael continued hitting and cursing Seath in the bathtub, finally firing another round of bullets at him. He finally ended Seath's life by shooting him in the face. After this, Michael and Justin wrapped Seath's body in a sleeping bag and disposed of it in a burning fire pit. Shockingly, James Havens, the 37-year-old ex-boyfriend of Amber's mother, was also involved in this murder plan. On April 18, 2011, James bought cement bricks loaded to Charlie's home in the back of his truck. Michael and Justin took Seath's burned remains from the fire pit and put them into painted buckets. James drove them to a remote water-filled rock quarry in Ocala, where they threw Seath's remains by tying them with bricks to submerge them rather than float. Meanwhile, Kyle, Charlie, and Amber cleaned up the bloodstains in the house using bleach. Michael escaped the town with James, who drove him to Stark, Florida. He stayed there with his out-of-town girlfriend's family. Upon arrival, Michael disclosed the murder details to the family. He even recounted chilling events during the murder, like the way he harmed Seath's knees to fit his body into the sleeping bag. The next day, Kyle watched a news report about Seath's disappearance. He got scared and confessed the crime to his mother. Kyle's mother reported this incident to the authorities. An investigation began. The investigators acquired a search warrant and went to Charlie's trailer for a search. They found the murder weapon and ammunition, along with burnt human remains, in the fire pit. They even found a 5-gallon bucket with a plastic bag floating in the water in the Ocala quarry, and a diving team retrieved 2 more buckets weighed down with cement bricks. The next day, authorities got a clue about Michael's location, and he was arrested in Stark, Florida. While in jail, he confessed to details of the crime and the names of 2 additional witnesses. The entire group involved in the murder was arrested and faced charges of first-degree murder. At first, Amber, Kyle, and Charlie expressed shock over Michael's intentions to harm Seath. But after multiple interrogations, they confessed to the crime. Despite being teenagers during crime, prosecutors opted for individual adult trials for each one involved in Seath's murder. Further forensic examinations revealed that blood splatters in the house contained the DNA of Seath and the 5 murderers. Forensic anthropologists and proficient DNA analysts confirmed that burnt tissue and bone fragments recovered from both the fire pit and the quarry belonged to the same person. These remains were matched with a biological and teenage male child in the Jackson family. By June 2012, Amber, Charlie, Kyle, and Justin were sentenced to life imprisonment for Seath's murder. Initially, an appellate court overturned Amber's conviction, leading to a retrial in 2016. However, she was again found guilty of first-degree murder and given a life sentence. Presently, she is held at the Homestead Correctional Institution in Miami-Dade County, Florida. In 2018, James pleaded guilty to being an accessory to the murder and was sentenced to 10 years. Charlie pleaded guilty to a reduced charge and was released in 2020 after serving 9 years in prison. Michael was identified as the primary instigator of Seath's murder and was given a death sentence. He appealed this verdict to the Florida Supreme Court, mentioning his unstable mental health as a contributing factor in the murder. However, in 2021, the court upheld the death sentence. Currently, Michael is detained at the Union Correctional Institution in Florida, awaiting the execution of his sentence.